I'm hopeful that I'm going to be able to be helpful to you all. To some extent, I've been in your shoes before. So, difference is that it was much more junior from a career standpoint when it happened. But the fundamentals are that I learned to network and hunt for myself. That's the key thing. The other thing I discovered was that you have to essentially bring to the market what the market wants, not what you necessarily think you are. Okay. So if you're perhaps a finance, a senior FP&A person or something like that, the truth of the matter is when people in this current market are acquiring consulting skills, they're buying a bundle. They don't necessarily want exactly what you're selling, but if you can articulate what you can sell and have yours associated with it, you're going to be far better off. So that's pretty much where I'm going to hit on for a lot of you, because what I'm going to suggest does not require you to be a techie in any significant way, but you must really open your mind that you will become more technical in the years to come, or you will not be doing this because the world's becoming very hybrid. It's not techies, not finance people. They're a hybrid, and you have to be able to do that. The good news is it's not hard. So, as I said, the current offering for a lot of folks could be too limited. If you're just saying, I do CFO work, or I do controller's work, or I just do tax work, you're leaving a lot on the table. There's a very good reason why consulting firms have multiple practices concurrently. It's because that's what the clients want. They want a bunch of stuff. And when you're in discussions networking, you don't know what they're going to be interested in speaking about when you get on the call. You got to let that call go to where they want to be. And if you have a way to solve a problem for them, that's great. It doesn't mean you have to be able to do it. What it means is you know and associate people with people who can. And in doing so, that drags you into the equation. It's that easy. Okay. It's very good. Nothing wrong with being in more than one lane. That's all billable. If you turn around and find yourself doing, a client that needs, we'll say, data work or financial systems work or something like that, there's nothing wrong with you then taking a cut off the top of that from an hourly rate. Now you're making money as a landlord instead of actually doing the work. It doesn't get better than that. I do it. I'd say I've been doing it for the last 25 years. Okay. Sometimes I have to work. Sometimes I have other people doing the work. It doesn't matter as long as it's revenue generating and it's good for the client. That's the key thing. What's very important also when you're out on engagements, even if you're in there doing a very narrow piece of work, make friends with the data people, the integration people, the analytics people, everybody. Okay. Everybody's potentially your friend. Everybody's potentially someone who's going to remember to call you when they come upon an opportunity where they need somebody for something, because then you're going to come to mind. And you have to stay in touch with people. And it's not that hard to do. You have to really create a schedule for it though, and diligently go through that schedule where, okay, every month I'm going to call this guy. Every 3 months I'm going to call that guy, whatever it might be. What's also important is being seen. So the easiest way to do that right now is to come up with content and become an expert at something. And it's got to be interesting to the market. So of course, everybody knows AI is really cool. Bad news is people really don't know what AI is. It's a whole bunch of different things, and every company on the planet is screaming they have AI. I'm going to get into that a little bit. There's some definite lanes right now that are a big deal that provide a lot of opportunity. The other thing is with AI, you don't have to be a super techie. It's a do-over for everybody. Everyone's starting off at the same level. It's just a matter of doing a lot of reading and a lot of research to get where you need to be. And also, as they say over and over again, don't be a taker. If you find an opportunity in an account and you're doing some work someplace, one of those people in your network might fit, might not, give them a call. It's always okay for them to say, no, I don't want to do it. It's not a fit, but it's greatly appreciated and they're going to remember you next time around. It's very, very important to do that because you're not competing with people, you're cooperating with people. In terms of resumes and what you're putting out to people, and I'm going to get into the process soon, but this is just how to present yourself. You're going to have multiple iterations of what I call a one pager. Don't dump your resume on this thing. Okay. Nobody wants to read your resume. What they're looking for is achievement. So it's like built, led, deliver, automated, led. But also you have to get the part where it's resulting in what was achieved. How much money did they make? That's a big deal. Also, led a finance reorg. Uh, you don't want to get into like cut costs. Poor people cut costs. It's easy to cut costs. That's not an achievement. Okay. What's an achievement is growing the pie. What's an achievement is driving margin. So leave the cost part out. Someone might ask you how much did it save as a secondary, third question in a conversation, but have it in your head. Don't advertise it because it's not valued by people. Everybody knows it's easy to cut costs. Again, automated the close. So what? How much money did it make the company save the money? Did it help the company from a compliance standpoint? Did it help the company from an accuracy and reporting standpoint? You have to layer in something of the why you did it. It's like an IT guy that tells you how big the database is. Who cares? What did you do with it? How did it make you money? Going out a little bit more, data governance and master data implementation. Just so you know, master data right now is a very hot topic. I'm going to get into this a little bit. Very hot. Very easy to pick up engagements on this. And it wraps with the finance world because you do not have accurate reporting unless you have an automated master data management process. Period. It doesn't work in Excel. Not an option. That's the other thing. Get away from Excel as much as you can. It's just not going to serve you well over time. You need to automate things. So on that one, the KPI on that one is it could save you $59,000 per year per person in labor. That adds up very quickly. Makes it a lot easier to get that engagement. If you can walk in and say, "Oh, you got 25 people, good. I'll save you $800,000. It'll cost 400 grand to put it in, and then we'll do work on your reporting, the best practices. Next thing you know, you're getting 600K worth of billing out of this. It's that easy. If you have a bigger firm, it's 1.8 million in my experience. That's how that works right now. Okay. And everybody has a master data manager problem if they have more than one system. If they have just one thing, like if it's a QuickBooks account, it's not going to work. Don't even bother. But if it's like a NetSuite or an Odoo or a Microsoft or an SAP or an Oracle shop, they're going to have multiple subsystems in the mix, and reporting requires a whole bunch of work associated with reconciling the changes in accounts, hierarchies, and dimensions as the data moves from system to system. That is a task that's huge right now. It's a full department full of people, and it squanders 16 hours a week per FP&A person in your organization. I run that all based on KPIs, what the drivers are in that, and getting a lot of activity just based on how much money they're squandering there. And at the end of the day, if it's wrong, the CFO gets terminated. So this is very, very important. AI doesn't even work unless your master data is squared away. It's that powerful. Not a lot of people are talking about it. The consulting firms are all in there talking up AI. And I think they're doing their clients a disservice by not mentioning the master data, but they're using that to do a change order to hit them for another $1 million of billing. Better to go in there honestly, get both with an honest approach. It will serve you far better.
Hey,
Um,
Jim,
yes,
uh, very quick. I'm just being honest. The phrase master data, maybe I should know that like the back of my hand. Is that basically everything in one truth data set is what it essentially means?
you're trying to create a hub, exactly. So what you're going to do is you'll all the elements changes. There's a workflow on that, the governance associated with it comes in. There's a defined, what do we all agree is going to be the language of business for this company? Then it gets propagated right back out again. Very good question. I'm glad you asked that one because I'm sure a lot of folks are asking. And there's another thing called metadata. We'll just knock that one out. Metadata, simplifying it because I used to be an accountant too, is changes in accounts, hierarchies, and dimensions as the software drips down from system to system. Just like it's moving across these pictures in my office, every time it moves and there's value added to a data, somebody changes it. So simple things like address for a company. You might have 6 different addresses for the company. It may not show up in the roll up, but the total amount, the numbers are all there. But at the detail level, because of small metadata changes, you're going to have arguments in conference rooms about nothing, and it's completely avoidable. And it used to cost about $1 million to put one of these in. If you buy this from like Oracle, SAP, Informatica, IBM, easy $1 million. There's a product here where it's free, kind of hard to beat free, and it does the same thing. Leaves a lot more money for consulting because now you don't have to discount your consulting in order to get the gig, is what I'm trying to say here. So back to the AI side of it, things like, dashboards and analytics. There's tools that you can engage into it that's going to have a very short ROI on it that are industrial grade, patented, and SOC 2 compliant. What is probably something you're going to really learn very quickly is sticking with giant vendors, household names, is not where the innovation is, nor the money, nor is it affordable to the clients you're talking to. You got to be different. And there's no reason to overpay for this stuff. Uh, Engineering, re-engineering, and forecasting away from Excel. So right now, scenario modeling is huge. Everybody is looking for a magician who can tell the future. Now, you may have this set up in Excel right now based on your past lives or current lives. As soon as humanly possible, when you're in another engagement, you will put that into a system. You will not do that in Excel anymore because you're going to be eliminated quickly with that. No one's going to tolerate it. You just cannot keep up with the demands by doing things in Excel. You have to use real systems. Excel is good for modeling, not for doing the work. So I'll move on a little bit unless there's any other questions. Good? All right. Now, what if you're out of date and you're addicted to Excel, since I brought that up before, right? There's a 4-step process on that one. It's not like a 12-step program. It's a little easier, right? So on that one, you're going to get yourself what's known as a stealth project. So in the notes that are available to you guys, there's a link on the stealth project of what you can do to do that. So what you're essentially going to do in those accounts is you're going to be able, using Excel, measure how messy the metadata is for that company. Can you guys see this? I swapped the screen. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, good. We'll keep going. So this is the recipe on this. It's really easy. Data health check. Are there blank cells? How to do it. What to check. How to do it. What to check. How to do it. What's going to happen is most of these companies will fail. That automatically they need your service. They fall into it. And you're being very honest the whole time. You're not tricking anybody. Okay? It's that easy. Then that turns into a consulting gig, which you're managing. You're not doing it. You're the PM. Concurrently, you get to do the work you think you want to be doing because now you're in the account and you can go ahead and develop those key performance indicators, measures, best practices, whatever line of work you're in. That's how that works. In terms of getting yourself back up to date, you need to read a lot. Okay. Go to webinars, talk to salespeople. They're not the enemy. They're not stealing from you. Honestly, they're really good for networking because if they know what you're doing and you do anything to help them even a little bit, they're going to engage you next time around when they have something that fits. So it's part of that friend group you're making. You're trying to make that as big as possible because that's going to be very, very helpful to you. Also, whenever possible, try out free and almost free software by yourself. Doesn't cost anything. You get a lot of benefit out of that. And then you can post something about that on LinkedIn because if you're creating content on LinkedIn that's useful to people, they're going to start to follow you. They're going to start to remember you. Now, I personally never had any luck on anybody calling me based on what they saw on LinkedIn. But what has happened is because I'm on LinkedIn often enough and have good content and now have a podcast, when I contact people, they're like, oh, I remember you. Conversation goes a lot better. Okay. It's not as cold of a cold call. And you're going to have to reach out and call people. There's no such thing as LinkedIning your way through to the next gig. If you're really that lucky, God bless you. It doesn't work for me. You got to get out there and swing the axe. It's uncomfortable, but best place to start is with strangers because if you mess it up, no biggie. The worst that can happen is they hang up on you. Come back next month, they forget about you. It'll be fine. Go ahead and build some financial models and analytics and KPIs, something attractive in Excel. So you have like a portfolio like an artist does. So you can show people, Hey, here's the model I built for this. Here's the model I built for that. Here's what it will do. It creates a conversation because you have to have something to show people because when they're learning about you, they're listening, but they also got to see something. And if it's on a Zoom call, they can't touch anything, but if they can see it and it moves, you're way better shape. Way better shape. Titles to avoid when you're out there uh, making yourself available. So, like when you're doing this monetization of a skill set that you have, the one pager, things you don't want to write down. Don't say, I don't think you should say this. Don't say you're a fractional CFO controller because that triggers people. Come up with a title or a thing that's like the number two guy or somebody who's useful, who's an ally of everybody else in the company. You never want to threaten anybody's position because they're all a little nervous every time they bring you in. So I think a good thing would be calling yourself a finance operations strategist, an AI enabled financial advisor. There's some easy things to put here, right? But there's other words you want to avoid, like calling yourself the transformation person. Way overused. Way overused. It's just worn out. It's like remember the word paradigm shift was big a couple of years ago? You guys are all old enough for that, like I am, right? You're not saying that again. Transformation's dead. Turn the page. You're not doing it. And don't, unless you're applying to a gig that is for a fractional CFO or a controller, don't call yourself that. Call yourself something else. You'll have a lot more latitude on the work you can do. Because if you say you're the controller, just think you're going to do the controller work all day. The truth is, you have the brains to do much more. Pick up that business. Marketing, as I said before, on LinkedIn alone is too passive. Okay. If you're shy, you're going to starve. You're going to have to make some calls. You're going to have to use tools to get there. Now, here's some things that might work. I use a tool called zoominfo.com. All right. And these slides will all be available later if you want them. But the thing with that is, I could pick up your office email, your Gmail account, your cell phone number, and your office email phone number. Use all of them. There are no more boundaries about, oh, don't call their cell phone. People are at home. They're not even in their office. They may have an office phone that they don't even use. So unless somebody complains, you hit them on every opportunity you can. And Gmail addresses are very important because honestly, a lot of them have blocks on their regular email that may hit you in the spam folder, but the Gmail account's picking up everything. I've gotten meetings with people just based on Gmail alone, and a lot of them. Corporate emails, there's a lot of ignoring going on. And don't worry about being polite or too pushy. You are now a salesperson. You have to be what a salesperson is. Be very polite, be very sincere, but you also have to be very diligent and get a hold of people that you're trying to get a hold of. Another good place to pick up work is hanging out with software implementation firms. So people who implement ERPs, EPMs, BI, those kinds of products, they're often in need of somebody who could set up uh, spreadsheets for them, best practice for them, go build me a cash flow statement for this or that company. That kind of thing is something that's very valuable and they don't have them in house. They'll use you for maybe 8 to 10 hours, but if you got 10 or 15 of these accounts out there you work with, you're going to keep getting calls, right? And then the next thing you know, you're helping to close business with them. They're going to pull you into every engagement they're on. And it's just a matter of those small bits of work you start off with are very, very important to build that up. When it comes to things like, you're familiar with Fiverr and Upwork, the labor rates on that are relatively low. However, two good things come out of that. You got resume trophies. Now you have client names you could talk about, projects you did, references you could talk about, and it gives you something to do versus sitting there looking at four walls in your house. You know, if you're not working, you really got to pay attention to your mental health. Stay busy. Even if they're small jobs, it adds up to something. It's money. Who cares? Do the work. And the other thing too that helps a lot for a lot of people is exercise. I'm a big exerciser. Gets rid of a lot of stress, and it's not good to just sit in the house. Get out. Even if you're walking around the block, who cares? You want to make friends at all levels. So if there's another, like I said, consulting company that's out there doing work where you are, have coffee with people. Don't take people to lunch. You don't have to spend a ton of money. There's no need for that. Plus, it takes too long to eat lunch anyway. You have coffee with people, you have a cup of tea with somebody in a chat. You'll get to know them, you build relationships, and you'll be fine. For Indeed.com, where they advertise for jobs and other job boards, you want to flip the script on that one. You don't actually apply for the job. You're going to call that company up using Zoom info because you've ID'd all the people you should be talking to and say, look, for 40% less, I can run that as a managed service for you. You get a bunch of those linked together. Next thing you know, you're hiring guys to do the work and you're not doing it. It's back to where you were before. And you make at least as much money because that is how you flip it. Because a lot of these guys, they're not able to hire anybody for what they're paying on a D, but they can't afford a fractional somebody on that. And it's a matter of where you want to be on pricing. I think getting $100 an hour is easy as waking up. If they're willing to talk to you, nobody's going to complain about $100, $200, whatever the number is for you. If you got a good story, it's more. Run multiple campaigns, right? So you have to have campaigns for like budgeting, forecasting, analytics if you're a finance person. And it's that one page is always different. You're going to hit the same people, not every day, because then you're hitting the spam folder. It's a balance. You're going to hit them once a week with some kind of a here's an offering. Boom, in and out. That's all. If you get traction on it, great. If you have access to software tools like me, I use a thing called Go High Level. I have that automated on an automated drip. It rotates every 15 days. I don't have to do anything except for add in more names. It is very inexpensive. It's like $20 a month. Very cheap. Okay, how to pick up AI and data engagements if you're not technical. We'll talk about this a little bit because this is the hot ticket right now. Okay, this people are picking up the phone for this. First thing you want to do is that health check I just showed you a little bit before. So you call them up and you say, look, I'm helping people with their data right now. It's a problem. AI doesn't even work without the data working. Just say it. AI doesn't even work unless the data's squared up. You're going to get people going, what do you mean? Now you're off to the races because you want them to speak to you. So in doing so, you offer to do that at no charge. You'll send them what you're going to do, or you hand it to them and they'll say, have your guy do it. It's a reason to call back. What'll happen on that is the vast majority of these firms will have a failing score. As I said before, you're not going to do this in a QuickBooks account. They're too small. So my target is anything from 50 million to about 800 million in revenue on the high end. Otherwise, I'm competing with the big four. I wind up getting subcontracted by those guys anyway. So I don't even bother because they're gonna win just because they're big. So that'll be a part of the deal there. The software to fix this is available for free, regardless of record counter users. So the big vendors, the IBMs, the Oracles, everybody likes that. They charge by the record. It jacks the cost of this up significantly. It's terrible. Makes it so a mid-market company can't even buy it. The mid-market companies have just as many problems as big companies, just not as much money, and they're easier to get into with a free product because what you're going to wind up having is 100% of the revenue is going to come out of consulting. You're going to get that. You're not going to have to discount your rate there because the software didn't cost anything. From there, you layer in an AI pilot, focusing on ad hoc dashboards and forecasts. Let me show you how that works. In the AI world, if I was going to simplify where things fit, these are the areas. First thing is your data governance part. Then you're going to have the ad hoc reporting. Nobody's good at ad hoc reporting except for us. The next thing leveled up would be things like forecasting. Can't do forecasting or RPA or any of these other things until you take care of the data and the natural language queries. Okay. This product right here is free. This one has a 39-hour ROI on it. And the pilot is free if the client looks like they're qualified to actually be able to buy it. Together, it'll save a company $59,000 a year in cost. And there's no risk on this stuff. There's no RFP. There's like, look, we'll put it in. If it works, Here's the terms are already in the statement of work. They're automatically engaged or we shut it off. We don't fool around with the I want to renegotiate guys. No use for those people. Um, we're the ones that like to pay their bills late. We don't deal with them. Uh, what we want to do is to work with nice clients, pay their bills on time, do a good job for them, help them reach their goals. And then the forecasting comes right up behind it. Forecasting is a massive opportunity. There's all kinds of uh, data science people you're putting into that. There's all kinds of folks involved in that one. Those get very big. These other two are very valuable, but it's down the track, phase 2 or 3. This could be 2 or 3 years later. This isn't going to happen that quick. I want you guys to be able to pick up the stuff you can actually get right now because the sales cycles on these are too long. And you're not going to be taken seriously unless you're working on one of these companies. But this is the realm of a finance person right now. Master data management, metadata management, data accuracy. Every finance person has to be really good at this and be able to automate this, or they're not going to be around very long at all. So that's what I've got for my first pass. So hopefully you guys got some questions.
Jim, let me give everybody a chance to breathe a little bit. You went through a lot of things real quickly here. And I'm going to remind everyone that these screenshots are going to be emailed out to you with the transcript of the meeting, verbal transcript of the meeting, and so you'll be able to do that. Jim, help me out. I asked you in the beginning, and you got right into it, your presentation. Tell us who you are, what you do, why you do what you do. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah. So I used to be a nice auditor, did it for 10 years, worked my way up from the state controller's office to Avon Cosmetics, worked on Wall Street at Smith Barney, PwC, all the normal haunts. And a really lucky thing happened to me when I was in Hong Kong. Well, I had to go to Hong Kong. I had to quit my job in New York because my wife had an expat deal. They put me into an outsourcing or a place called Drake Beam, where they basically help you get another job. I frankly was far too junior to be useful to them. They're used to dealing with senior level guys. But the company my wife was working for was very generous and they put me in there. So I went through the same problem and difficulty of most finance people thinking, oh, I'll send an application in, HR is going to call me back, or some headhunter is going to call me back. And because you know what, I can't speak Cantonese, nobody called me. So after about 3 months of sitting there staring at the walls and get pretty depressed, I kind of cracked and said to them, all right, tell me about this networking thing. How's that work? Well, I did what they told me, and within 15 days, I had a job. Actually, I had 2 jobs. So I had to pick one. So I went ahead and what I learned out of that was the networking part. What I subsequently learned from that, because I was an IT auditor, I learned a fair amount about financial systems like SAP, Oracle, all these other guys, and how to put them to use. So I left accounting and went and started selling software for what was then Dun Bradstreet. I think they're out of business now. I eventually wound up at Oracle selling Hyperion products. The first year I started selling software, my income was double that of an accountant. Not because I'm great, it's because it's just articulating this. You're the bridge between what I would call the propeller heads and the business people. So you can have that conversation of the why, results in. Remember I had that up here? Here it is. The why. Why are we doing this? Somebody's rambling on about speeds and feeds. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Right? But I can articulate why you want to spend $1 million on this or that and what you're going to get. So that helped. From there, I left Oracle and started my own recruiting firm. So I moved most of the Hyperion admins and implementation guys that moved in North America for a number of years until LinkedIn came up. LinkedIn fired me. Okay. I became a luxury item at that point. So I had to do something else. Luckily, I was moving consultants. So I pushed straight into just moving consultants, and that's all. selling consulting in the Oracle EPM space, OneStream, Power BI, stuff like that. That funded my ability to co-found two software companies that help that vertical. And that's where we're at right now. So one of them is masterful data, and the other one is rapid analytics. Together, they provide the means to help these companies save a tremendous amount of money, because when you're doing consulting, you're looking at product gaps and you go, wow, if I could fix that, I could sell that. So now we have a patented product that's SOC 2 certified, and we're out in the marketplace trying to make that go. And we're shoving that straight back into our Oracle accounts, because a lot of them are on what we call a managed service. That means I take care of your software instead of you having your own guy. So if I do it, it costs 40% less than if you hire a guy. It's that simple. As a loss leader, the free software goes in there for free, which digs deeper roots into the account for me. Because if I'm running your master data, I'm really hard to get rid of, because we like recurring revenue here. So that's me.
Great. Thank you. Jim, you certainly have a lot that we talked about here, and there's a lot of information that you went through. Are there any other questions for Jim right now?
Yeah, hi, this is Nate. Really
Nathan, how
quick.
are you? Where are you,
Good.
Nathan?
So I'm in Hoboken, New Jersey.
Cool.
Good
Yeah.
for you.
Thanks. Um, so the question that I have is you talked a little bit about, writing your own software. Actually, that's actually a little bit what I want to talk to you. You talked about,
Sure.
leveraging new software, right?
Mhm.
There's things that you can get off the shelf. I guess the question is, is that how you're approaching this? Just packaging existing software and then offering that as a consultative service? Did you build your own? How are you kind of managing automating these? Because
Sure.
obviously there's small AI tools, but just curious as to what your approach is and how you recommend someone getting started with it.
Yeah, we're doing both. And the key thing is, as I go back to, is you don't want to present to somebody what you want to sell them. You want to be like a psychologist. You want to pull information out of them, right? Get them talking, because then they're going to tell you, I'm having a problem with this, I'm having a problem for that. Well, I wish I could do this, what I don't like about that software. And you don't want to get prescriptive right away, right? And you're going to do a fair number of, we'll say, you know, consultation calls with them where there's no revenue at all. You basically have to build confidence with them. That's part of the deal. The money tap does not turn on immediately. So what'll happen is it may turn out to be, for example, I ran into the vertical, the Oracle EPM or the Hyperion accounts and the OneStream accounts. I already know they have a problem with master data governance, and they can't do AI as it pertains to ad hoc reporting because they don't have the patent, but we do, right? Knowing that, I don't like batter them with that one, but it may start off with like, well, we have to we don't have a guy who can run this for us. I need some new key performance indicators. We have to get new measures. We just acquired another company, so I got to merge this in with the chart of accounts, and I have to redesign the reporting packages, and I have to make sure it's all integrated. There's two things. Now I got an integration job, and I'm redesigning your KPIs and measures. So then I'm going to grab a finance person who really knows a lot about KPIs, potentially in that industry, and has a story. Okay. And then when it comes to the integration piece, it's just a matter of finding somebody who's got integration skills with that tool. And that's garnered by a combination of my network. And if I think it's a simple task, I'm going to get somebody on Fiverr or Upwork to do it, because the labor rates are a lot lower and they get paid based on performance, not by the hour, which is fine. Happy to pay anybody who gets the job done, but we don't pay anybody for trying, which I tell them right up front. So we were very fair about how we deal with people, because everybody you touch, it matters. It always matters. You want to treat people fairly and be honest with them. But then as you get into that account, you'll see things on your own. The other thing I do with the guys that work for me, every single one of them are expected to identify opportunities, which I pay them for. Okay. So if they find something, maybe I'll give them 10 or 20 bucks an hour if they pick it up. Fine. Always share with your people. Always pay everybody. If it's a fixed fee deal for you, it's a fixed fee deal for them. You don't try to skim or like, hold back. It's so much cheaper to be generous than to be stingy.
Sorry, and just one follow-up question. There is a lot of noise about, AI products. If you look online, you'll see almost everyone is offering,
Ever.
oh, our tool does, dashboards and KPIs, and we'll do your bookkeeping for free, and and all these other little, oh,
Mhm.
we have a liquidity tool. How do you get past that noise in terms of just being able to have an honest question? Because these are great little tools. It's, somebody's pet project a lot of the times,
Yeah.
but you need to get past that in order to be able to actually get in the door and explain to them, look, here's the governance that really needs to be put in place. And here's the 10 steps to actually get your data into the first machine learning model in the first place. So,
Okay.
how do you get past that wall,
What I
if you will?
what I often say to them is I say, okay, look, you're going to hear a lot of noise. Everybody and their dog says they have a product. However, let's start simple and let's start with what you're not being told. So now you make them, ooh, everybody else is bad and I'm the good guy, right? You got to pull them off of that because all the simpleton sales guys are just going at them. You don't want to be that guy. So you do the here's something you got to know. Whether we ever speak again, I'm just going to give you some free advice. You can't buy any AI product unless your master data is squared up. The good news is it's not a techie thing, it's an accounting thing. And it's just a giant word for stuff you already know, like changes in accounts, hierarchies, and dimensions. I never go beyond that, right? Keep it simple. And then you pause, shut up, and they'll get done. What do you mean? And you're off to the races, right? Because you say to them, well, look, everybody's trying to sell this AI stuff. Frankly, I see, and I'll tell you the truth, in the market, everything from prompts that are cobbled together and they're trying to sell it for $40,000 and it's vulgar to even sell that to somebody. I won't name the name of the budgeting planning company that's doing that right now. It's vulgar. All right. And they're taking advantage of people. That's wrong. Instead, you say, look, the other problem you have is we're not going to one product. You already have Tableau, Click, Power BI, the ERP reporting system, right? You have all these reporting tools, right? Do you have to fill out a configuration screen and I throw them up on the screen like this in order to get that to work? Yeah. Is that painful? Yeah, I hate that. I can't do it. It scares me. I don't even know what a dimension is, and they start crying on the phone a little bit, right? Say, okay, good. In my world, all you have to do is write a sentence and it works. Now, you'll see on these websites here, the video will show you. So like rapidanalytics.com, Inc. That one's going to have the first video on there, shows you the pain, and then you write the sentence, and you immediately get an ad hoc report with a pivot table, with the code that the auditor can look at, and you could chuck it straight into a dashboard without even knowing how to make a dashboard. And you can get it with the commentary for the board reporting without having a clue on how to size stuff on a sheet. Now, we have a patent for that. You're not going to get that from Oracle or OneStream. They can't do it. Okay. So they're blocked. So if you're going to get somebody go, well, I think I saw that. Wow, cool. Where? Right? And it goes back and forth from there. And then the other question too is on the AI, what are you hoping to achieve? Because if they're talking about bots, like accounts payable processing, that's a different conversation. You probably don't want to be a part of that unless you have that background. Then you're getting off the phone and you're backing away and you're just doing the data part. Stop. You know, don't try to sell more than one thing at a time. They don't have time or interest. It's too much for their heads. And I feel the same way when somebody calls me. If there's too many options, I'm confused. Keep it simple and that's it. But you have to see where you fit and what they're trying to achieve. Because you get the other one where all the AI thing is going to take away all the jobs. No, it's not. It's going to take away the jobs of people who do simple things that are repeatable, but not the people who think, and definitely not the people who are driving the AI. So you're either driving the bus or getting run over by the bus. But there's no such thing as stalling, pausing, analysis paralysis. It's not going to work. It's going so fast right now. It's very, very compelling.
Great,
Do you
thank
find
you.
yourself, what's your percentage of time you're out networking, selling,
Oh, yeah.
looking for opportunities? And then do you have a controlled group of people that you use on Fiverr and or Upwork?
Sort of. So those are excellent questions. So the vast majority of my time is spent prospecting and networking. Vast majority. Now, what is kind of a bummer is you get called, you pulled into an opportunity and you're working it. Now you become the conductor. So now you're pulling in the people who do the work, right? I predominantly have the people who help me get the jobs are all US and Canadian based generally, because these are people I've known or I've networked with who have deep skills. The Fiverr people are like factory workers, nothing against them, but you're not going to put them on a call. You're saying, hey, I need you to go make me a spreadsheet that does X. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye. That's how you. That's the interaction. Now, what you will find on Fiverr, and there's some surprises out there, is you'll find somebody who's, not making enough money at their current job, and they're doing some mood lighting, and it turns out they're awesome. And that's just like finding romance all over again, right? Back in the day, you find somebody really nice, you just never know where you're going to find them, that you find the love of your life. So same thing happens. Is you're going to find people that are awesome. You're going to find people that are not going to fit, and you work accordingly. But that Fiverr thing or the up work, pretty much at the doer level, it's not going to be the strategic stuff. You're going to pull in real consultants that can help you articulate a solution.
So is there a way to start this consultancy? We'll move
Yes.
away from fractional. Uh,
You're already moving ahead because you changed the word, so you're killing
yeah.
it right now.
So as an individual
Yep.
person, without that team, where you're probably going to have to be everything initially, right?
Right. So here's what I would do. And I'd be happy to talk to you one-on-one if you want. It's no problem, right?
Okay.
But the thing of it is whatever you are, whatever cool school skills you have, you get them into this kind of a format. Built, how much money I saved. Led, how much money I made. Automated, what did I get out of that? Right? That kind of a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
You start there. And then what happens is you're going to throw something in that's new and not everybody else has. Luckily, that data health check, or if you think of something else you could do as a freebie, whatever that is, throw that in. I use that health check thing because honestly, it's got an easy penetration point on it. You really don't have to know much, and
Right.
it sheds eye-opening experience immediately. The hardest thing is getting somebody to let you do it, right? But the good news is you don't even have to get permission to access. You can actually send it to them and say, hey, we'll do it on the Zoom call together. Let them click around their own screens and get their own answers. Now it's even more
Yeah.
honest, right? So now you're into it. And then from there, you're a matter of, okay, this is something we could do. Now, what you'll do is if you have something that requires outside forces, you're going to go find these people out there in the market who can do it. They're all over the websites, all over Google and whatever, all over I don't know what state you're in New Jersey. If you need a data guy, there's like 16, 20 data software vendor consulting firms out there that are pretty good. Just call up their sales guy and have a chat with them. Say, hey, I'm calling you up. And you start validating them like you're going to hire them, just like the old days when you're in a company, who are you going to hire? 16 consulting firms are available. The difference is you're calling them and asking them, you might want to be engaged with them or not. You're still validating them because your name's going on everything. You got to be very careful, right?
Right. Yeah.
But you're also can put together teams like a football coach. You can't run, you can't catch anymore, but you can identify talent. And that's all you need to be able to do. And then control that talent with contracts
Okay. Well, thank you for that information. I appreciate it.
anytime.
Are there any other questions right now from the field? Okay, Jim, I
Sorry,
have some
just
free.
one more.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Jim,
Go
thank
ahead,
you.
Joe. Joseph.
Yeah, from Westfield, New Jersey. A lot of Jersey folk tonight. Sorry.
Yeah. All the good people.
Yeah. And not to get too tactical, but I'm very curious about those tools that you mentioned that you say are free.
Yeah.
Kind of two-part question. Are there some like dummy data that you can apply that to if you don't have a client? That's kind of number one. And number two, when you actually get the client, I'm assuming there's some permissioning that has to go on. Like, how do you get access to their information? Do you have roadblocks there that you face? Because I very much agree with you. The AI is like the icing on the cake. The data governance is really what drives it. And I can testify that, yes, most data is not in well enough shape.
It's a
I'm
mess.
just curious to learn more about those tools.
Yeah, so let me take you through this one. So, first part of, you don't need any dummy data at all. Okay. You don't even need permission. You say to them, look, I'm going to send you the recipe. We're going to get a Zoom call. I'm going to take you through it. You're going to click around your own screen, your own data. Or if you're super private, you do without me. I'm going to call you back 2 days later and see how you did. That's generally that's how we do it. Because then you overcome that whole IT guy going, who are you? Do you have
Yeah.
cybersecurity? Da 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 da. Right? Because when you do get engagements, you're going to have E&O, cyber, all these kinds of insurance. Gets a little pricey. You don't want to be paying for that unless you have revenue. And even then, you don't want to pay for it, but you want to wait definitely until you have revenue before you pay for that. So the way I do that with them was say to them, look, we don't have to get into anything, but you and I both know you can run a check and look for blank cells. You can look for naming conventions that are different, like NYC, New York, NY. And they're gonna go, yeah, I got that. Of course they got that. It's like everybody has bad breath when they wake up. Of course, these are like almost trap questions I know they're gonna walk into, but they're honest. These are real problems they all have. And this significantly impacts their capability of doing analytics and reporting. Even a little thing like this. Because if you're the sales VP and you're asking for New York, do you mean New York City? Do you mean New York? Is NY did all the ones that are N.Y get left off the chart? Now you can't develop a territory for your people. There's massive implications to this. It's a big deal. Okay. So that's how you get them to work with you. Or if you're lucky, you can get in and see them, but it's pretty easy to do. And remind me is there any part of that question I need to answer I missed?
Yeah, look, that's great. I guess my question, like, hey, if I was pitching a client like tomorrow,
Yeah,
could I go and use this? Do I need
definitely.
permission from you to do it? I'm
No,
assuming.
you can do it. I'll write you the pitch if you want it. You're gonna have to ring them up and say, hey, I found the other thing that works pretty good too, and I've done this with I have like consultants who have a job but they're looking for a side hustle. By the way, the whole world's on a side hustle now because things are too expensive, right? So they're like, well, I don't want to, I'm not that frontal. I can't do that. I go, okay, cool. All you have to say is to whoever you're pitching, first cut, hey, I saw something interesting. Thought this might be worth a look. Tell me what you think. And all they're going to see is the video, which is on the page, which, it's right there in the link. And then you say, they got this health check thing. Do you want to go through it? That's the second email. Well, I think I'll do it myself. Well, that's not as good as I want to do it with you because then you keep the momentum going. But you're going to get a lot of the I'm going to do it myself people. And that's all you can do. You're on their radar now. So then you're going to hit them back with the how'd you do? Where'd you wind up? Did you? And then it's basically touches after that develop into when they're ready for you because they're not always ready for you they're welcoming, and then they're like, oh, I got to do work. It's the holidays. There's always like an excuse, right? The good news is right after January starts, the whole vacation thing's not going to come up again until June. So you got 6 months to get activity right there that are very powerful. These next couple of weeks are a really good opportunity to build your story and build out what you're going to do and get your list ready, because a lot of people will ignore you because they're at parties, right? Or they're thinking of parties. So that's how it, and then there's that drip of, uh, where it got done, how much money they saved, or hey, this company got picked up in an SEC audit because they didn't report X. There's a bunch of banks that are out of compliance with allowing people from like North Korea, Cuba, and whatever do business with their bank because they don't have the master data squared up to block them because the guy wrote a different address and they didn't look them up properly. Well, the authorities will still ding you for that and they'll hit you with $1 million fines. It gets paid for very quickly. Doesn't take much, but an awesome question.
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
But I would say the flanking touch out of the first is the way to go. Hey, I saw this. It's interesting. That kind of a thing. Because it's not until you feel confident about calling people, that's the way to do it. When you do start contacting people, so you hit them with an email, you hit them with a couple emails, then you're gonna have to ring them up, and you don't say, "Hey, did you see my email?" It's like, "I'm calling you because fill in the blank, bang, no more than 60 or 90 seconds." And if you're choking, hang it up. Come back next week. It doesn't matter. You're gonna call 100 people anyway. Doesn't matter. Just go. Um, that works a lot better because that way you can ease into it, but you will have to reach out and touch people. They're just not, on a rare occasion, it's called a bluebird if somebody just comes to you. It doesn't happen. It really doesn't. Now, there's a lot of power in that because the other thing too is if you're an employee, they get to shoot you whenever they want. If you have your own firm, you just keep getting clients and you just keep getting bigger and stronger all the time. And the only safety that I've found is a pile of money. Is the only thing they'll save you. And eat a lot of quinoa, of course. Take care of yourself.
Are there any other questions for Jim at this time?
Yeah, I got one, but I think David's ahead of me.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to see. Oh, yes, David's raised his hand. I apologize. David, I thought you already asked your question, and I'm sorry. Go
It's
ahead.
good
ask
to have
another one.
more than one. That's not a problem.
Yeah. Hey, and listen, we have a holiday special today. Ask as many questions as you want.
They're
Go
free.
ahead.
Hey Jim, how you doing? I'm out here in Temecula, California.
Awesome.
I wanted to ask you what your CRM you use.
It's called gohighlevel.com. It is the most powerful, least expensive thing you get your hands on. If you give me your information, I'll get you. There's a wholesaler that's Volani Analytics sells it. They'll get you on there for almost nothing, and you'll be fine. But what it does is noteworthy. It's not just the CRM; it's got that automatic drip for the automations. And then if you decide to have your own webinar, it'll immediately text, bang, a couple thousand people just in a flash, all for the same price. If you go to HubSpot or Salesforce.com or something like that, it'll cost way too much money. You'll have to hire an administrator. It's a fortune. There are just so many cool tools that are not from big companies. Be very suspicious if it's from a big company. You're just overpaying. And the innovation's not even there either. And the customer service is very good.
Can we go to
I shot
Brian?
you a LinkedIn invite. If you can give me that wholesale information, I'd appreciate it. That's awesome.
Okay.
I'm going to go to Brian first and then John. Go ahead, Brian.
Thanks, Sharon. Hey, Jim. So two questions. One, do you find that your close rate is much higher when you can get face to face at some point with somebody? That's one. The other one is I'm unfamiliar with most of the software you've been talking about. Where do you find it online? Is there some central list of truth, or you
Yeah.
just Is it Google?
It's
God
your
forbid.
network. Your network. People come to you. So all these people you touch, it's a combination thing. So I'll give you an example. The people come to you and you'll hear things. People that you hired will pitch you on stuff and say, hey, if I did a product that did X, do you think that would work anywhere? So I had a OneStream guy develop some kind of a capability of putting all their ad hoc reports in one place as like a big index. Now, I thought it was unattractive, didn't catch my eye very much. But I said to him, just sell any? He goes, yeah, I got like 6 of them sold. Well, doesn't matter what I think now. It's selling, right? So then it's like, okay, what are you saying? You got collaterals already built. Let me see them. Let's make sure they look good. Can I combine them with something else? And then the other thing you always want to do is you want to back sell everybody you ever did business with. The easiest place to sell something is people who know you and trust you. And you're constantly making sure that trust level's high, quality level's high. It's not just chasing invoices, it's make them happy because then they won't fire you. That's the key. And give away a fair amount. I mean, they call you up and ask you how to do something for like a half an hour. Don't charge them. It's a freebie. Just don't. Because the other thing that works great too is I've had people quit a company. I love when this happens. They quit, they go someplace else, they call you up. It's automatic. Because once you're one of their people, it's like a chef. They take their crew with them wherever they go. But the Google thing, yeah, a little bit. Not so much. I think for me, mostly it's just the network, the people hang around with. They keep coming up with things. A
Good,
ton of
good.
creativity out there.
Thank you. John, you had a question.
Yeah. Hi, Jim. John from Boston. So anyways, you said the master data plan, if you're using QuickBooks, forget about it. What if that's all I used was QuickBooks? What do you do?
You're going to have to branch out. The other thing is QuickBooks doesn't scale. QuickBooks is in competition with you. I've gone to like small accounting firms that have QuickBooks and go, look, we're going to try to put you on Odoo because QuickBooks will steal your business from you because they're always advertising cheap CPAs in Idaho or Chicken Lips, Idaho, or wherever that might be. So it's not a place you want to be. So to get out of that is any place there's some kind of FP&A work, grab it regardless of the rate, because what you're going to get out of that is exposure to other products, and then you're going to it'll lift yourself up. It's going to be a bit of a climb, but it's very doable. But I think QuickBooks, it's a doomed move, man. There's nothing good about that. I've told a bunch of small accounting firms, if you put them on Odoo, Odoo is as powerful as NetSuite, it's cheap as QuickBooks, and it threatens SAP. Nobody ever heard of it. $700 million company out of Norway. They barely advertise in the year. They advertise on public radio for some reason. I don't know why.
I think they've got a lot of free training too, don't they, Jim?
Odoo?
Yeah, I think so. For all their different modules, they used to anyway.
Honestly, we use it on both of our companies, and it's simple to use. The videos are good. You call the help desk, they're good. If you want to hire resources, there's tons of them, like on Fiverr and whatnot, to do the work for you. So what I would do if I was you, John, if possible, I'd run a campaign of flipping your QuickBooks accounts to Odoo.
Okay.
Because here's the other thing. If a company grows, QuickBooks and that accounting firm get fired.
Right. Yeah. I had a company that I was going to 90 million. We were looking for NetSuite right afterwards, but I needed something to go to from desktop to somewhere. I'm like, all right, quickly, let's use
now it's Odoo. You don't use the QuickBooks, it's horrible. I
don't like it either. Yeah.
I don't like it either. You can't even make multiple journal entries in it. It's good for like if you're running like a card shop someplace. And even then I'd run it all in Excel. I wouldn't even have a system to be it. But it's just because you already know your debits and credits. It's all your money anyway. You got a shoebox you're running that thing out of, right? So you don't need that.
Right. Right.
You know, it's crazy. But yeah, that works very, I think that's a very powerful way to do it. You can flip those. And here's the other cool thing, John. You centralize that under your name. They basically pick up a tenancy on your platform. And even if they fire you, you're getting paid forever because now that's on your tab.
Oh, really?
Be a landlord, John. Never be the guy cutting the grass.
Wow, that sounds
Sounds
deep.
good. Thanks, Jim.
Sure.
Any other questions for Jim? Jim, I have one question here, and it came in earlier, and I think it's worth asking.
Sure.
And this person writes that they think it's unseemly or sleazy for someone
Right.
who's with serious financial background, like a CFO, a controller, director in accounting and finance, to be making sales calls like a salesperson.
Oh, the
You
horror.
know,
All right. Yeah.
now, Jim, you and I both
Then
know you
please
have to
don't
knock
make them.
on.
I will.
Jim, you and I both know you have to knock on a door to make sure somebody opens it for you. Help this person get past this
Yeah, I can help.
mindset.
It's fear-based. It's anxiety. The other thing too is nobody cares. No one's no one cares enough about you to judge you. All right. So it's you're not even on anybody's radar. If you're feeling shy, talk to strangers first because if you screw up, worst that happens, you get hung up on. The other key thing is it's not working if you're trying to get jobs and nobody's calling. It's not working. So your next step is, I don't know, go work at Amazon, drive Uber. Nothing wrong with that. Honorable work. But if you want to stay in the realm you're in, you have to retool. And I've done it multiple times. I've had businesses that'll do great and then they die. And then I'm scared to death. What am I going to do next? So then I'm thinking of what that might be. It might be consulting, then it's software, but things come along. And there's a common thread of you have to get out there. You have to not be, don't be full of yourself. Maybe you used to be a CFO. Nobody's impressed that you're a CFO. You know, nobody cares. They're just like, you're just some guy working. You just happen to have a bigger desk. You're not cool anymore. You have to get behind your personality and your wits. It's kind of like if you're really smart in high school, your GPA starts all over again in college. You're going to have to earn the whole thing all over again. So now you're rebuilding from start. It's kind of like, I don't know. I suppose it's for people like they got divorced, right? You got to start all over again. You got to go find a new girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever you're into. You got to go rebuild your empire. And you don't want to buy everybody a house and a Lexus. So just do better the next time. That's it. But it's hard.
Brian,
Start small.
Brian,
But the thing is, give yourself a KPI. Like, I will make 10 calls today. I'm going to make 15 calls tomorrow. I'm not going to have analysis paralysis where I'm going to like know everything about them. You're better off gunslinging your way through it because they're going to and just shut up as soon as the other person's talking because it's like they're changing the channel. They don't want to hear you. Listen, because if they're talking, there may be something you could do for them. Or if not, you go, you know what? I'm not a good fit for you, man. Thanks for picking up. Be nice and go. If you get hung up on, don't call back. You're going to get blocked. They're going to hit that button. Your number's blocked. You can wait a day or two, and then you call back like it never happened. I've had people yell at me in the phone 2 months later, 30 grand. It's, you know, it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. You're not throwing bullseyes.
thanks, Jim. Brian, you had an interesting comment. Can you read what you wrote in the comment screen?
I'm notoriously shy, but sure, I'll try. If you don't like making sales calls, maybe make calls to help people. If you can't help them, move on. In other words, yeah, I don't like being a salesman either, but I like doing the work. And to get to doing the work, which usually benefits somebody if you do the right work in the right time in the right place, you're getting paid, but you're doing something that's doing some good for somebody
You're
or
on the
some large
it
group of
makes them
people.
really happy.
If you're just jamming something down somebody's throat that they don't know, don't understand, don't want, maybe even can't use,
Yeah.
if you can't help them understand what good you're going to do for them, then you can't help them understand. And
Right.
don't try.
Here's
Move
the other
on.
thing. Don't think of salespeople the way you think of retail salespeople, right? So that car salesman guy, that guy selling aluminum siding, those guys, that's
The
a whole
person at
nother,
the Macy's counter with the spray bottle that you don't like at all, it's in your face. That's not
right.
you. Sorry.
It's a whole nother level of sales. You're a consultative salesperson. You have something to offer that's valuable. You're not, don't try to be flashy, just be really boring and sincere, because that's the kind of people you're talking to. You don't want to spook them, right? You just go in there, calm voice, and honestly practice in the mirror. Freak out your wife or husband or whatever you got, but practice in the mirror what you're going to say a bunch of times. Talk to yourself. Don't just stare. Speak. Because when you hear yourself, you're like, "Whoa, I got to fix this." So that's very important. And also, you don't read a script. You might have a couple bullet points, but it's 60 seconds, 90 seconds tops, and you're gone. And when you say your phone number, say it slow. They can't call you back if you rattle off your number too fast, right? That's key. And then what I also like to start, because a lot of times it's hard, it's like, what do I even say? I usually start off with saying, Bob, I'm calling you regarding an email I sent you yesterday specifically about, with a very commanding voice. So they're like, oh, what's this? And then I tell them what it is. And it's not mean, it's not scary, but it just tells them, oh, this is what I'm calling about. And I said, I'd like you to give me a ring back if you might want to, but I've got a calendar link on there. Set a date and time of your choosing, and I look forward to helping you reach your goals. Boom. Goodbye. That's it. Because it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game.
Not only that, but again, as someone who I'm the president of the board for a leading nonprofit in Philadelphia, and we're making our solicitation calls, our contact calls to our high value donors this time of year. And I have an analogy that says pretty much, and I'm sure we've all heard it before, the brain cannot absorb what the butt, the tail, your seat will not allow to endure. If you start getting beyond 70 seconds on your conversation, on your pitch, on your voicemail, you lost them.
Yeah.
And that's one thing we try to do.
And
Brian,
in the
with
meeting,
you. Give me a second.
get yourself like a couple seconds clock or something. Be very aware. Take a breath and shut up. You got to get them. The goal is to get them to talk more than you. That's when you're winning. If they're speaking more than you are, you're winning. Now they're falling in love. That's where you
And
want.
as I've told more than one person, no one learns by hearing themselves speak. Brian, go ahead.
2 ears, one mouth. There's the ratio.
Yeah, the thing I try to keep reminding myself is the less I talk, the smarter I am, or the smarter
Yeah.
I sound. And it is just to acknowledge it is hard as hell to pick up the phone and call somebody. That phone gets damn heavy.
Oh yeah.
But and hearing a conversation face to face can be really hard. The best thing you can do, just like you just said it, Jim. So I'm just going to shut up again, is to get them talking. That's how you win. And then you're not selling, you're letting them talk.
The
Carry
other
on,
thing too
babble
is
them
when
up.
you're talking to them and you hear the typing, you're losing, right? But
Oh, and
don't
it's
get
so
your
true.
feelings hurt. Don't get your feelings hurt because you don't have feelings anymore unless you have enough money to have feelings. That's the way I look at it. So what you're doing is like you hear the thing and the keyboard and you go, man, they're getting their money's worth out of you. Shut up. Don't even stop talking about what you were talking about. Get human with them right away. Wow, man, they must make you work a lot. And then the cry starts, right? That's what you want them. You want them talking to you. And get a snicker out of them. If you get a snicker, you get to say your next 30 seconds. That's it. But it's hard. And that phone is rough. And you know, it's a necessary critical thing to be good at. I don't I'm completely incapable of making money without making a phone call.